Hi everyone, and welcome to day 7 of your Visibility, Alignment and Abundance Challenge. So massive well done, you made it to day 7. So those of you who are here and watching this, I just want to say, take a moment to recognize how committed you've been to this challenge and what that says about you and your business, because to me it speaks volumes. To me it tells me that you are serious about doing this, and you are in that much smaller percentage of people who are actually taking action on this. So you're in the top 10% already just by showing up every day in this challenge, by watching these videos and by posting this. And so kind of really being committed to the process. And I promise you it is well worthwhile, because this is what builds a business. This is what attracts your ideal soulmate clients to you. So today I think is a day where people are like, that might feel quite big, but I don't want you to worry about it. So if you've got any concern, any anxiety around this, like literally smash it up, throw it away. Because what's most important here is today is a day that can really connect you with those people who are listening, reading, watching you. And quite often, you know, as you post things, whether it's videos or pictures or whatever it might be, sometimes you might feel like nobody's listening. But what I know for sure in my business is that it's often people who you have no idea are watching who actually then come forward and want to work with you. The number of people I have who actually message me personally and say, hey, I've been watching your stuff in Dreamcatchers. I really need your help. My mindset's this and I need some strategy. I need some support. You know, can I talk to you about working with you? They're people who I've never seen before. They're in Dreamcatchers, but they don't like or comment or do anything on any of the posts. So they're invisible to me, and then suddenly they pop up. And so I want you to realize that this is actually natural. And sometimes you might feel like you're talking to nobody, but there are people watching, I promise you. And it's about continuing, because that is what separates those people who stop and therefore don't make it versus those people who do start getting seen and heard, and that message spreads and your ideal clients will come to you. So it's really important to trust the process and to be in it long term. So today I want you to start looking at what your story personally is, because we all have a story. And I certainly, when I started looking into my story, not all that long ago, to be honest, was like, but I don't have a story. And quite often at big personal development events, you'll hear these huge, very, very horrendous stories that people have been through. And you know, they went to this very dark, awful, painful place, and then they transformed their lives and created something amazing. The truth is, lots of our stories don't have that real dark and real light part of it. Lots of us are much more mainstream. And I certainly believe that we don't need to go through pain to be able to change our lives and decide how we want our lives to look and really live them purposefully. So I want you to recognize that we all have a story, even though sometimes you might not even realize it. So for me, I'm going to share a little bit about my story, because I think that it's going to help you see why that you do have a story and what parts you might want to share. So my story probably goes that I started out as a teacher. I loved being a teacher. I loved making a difference. I loved connecting with the students, but I didn't really enjoy I didn't enjoy the back end of teaching. I ended up getting pregnant with Archie, and then very quickly Toby, and it soon became very clear that there was no point me going to work, working really hard as a teacher. I did love my job, to make virtually nothing. And so I decided that I would be a stay-at-home mum, but, and this is probably relevant for lots of you, I got a bit bored. Like, I loved being around my kids. I adored my kids, but my brain was like, oh, it needed to focus on something. So very quickly I started building my own business, which at that time was a children's play centre. And it really inspired me, and I got really excited about this whole new business world that I hadn't explored before. And so I found a partner, and together we started building this soft play centre, not brick by brick, but it felt like it, because there was so much research, so much time, so much effort that went into this. And just as this was all happening, my husband was offered a job in New Zealand. And it was a very, very hard decision to make. But in the end, we decided to whisk our 2 boys off to New Zealand and start a life over there. Now, within that time and within that move, as I'm sure you can guess, it was a whirlwind. I had a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, no family over there. I was in a place that I didn't know. And I felt lost, because I felt like I didn't have a purpose. Yes, I was being a mum, but it felt like that was all, and I felt like I needed something more, and I didn't have any friends, and I didn't know anything, right? I didn't know anything, I didn't know anyone. It was quite a hard time. And I came across life coaching, and I had a couple of friends in the UK who were coaches or trained in NLP, and I started to talk to them, and I started to realize what life coaching was about. And because I needed help with this, I went and enrolled in a life coaching school, thinking I can learn this as a skill to help myself first. And that was really when my coaching journey began. And I very quickly set up a really, really lovely, aligned, beautiful business over in New Zealand that worked perfectly alongside my family. And I was very lucky, and I got asked to train at other training schools and NLP schools. And so my business grew quite quickly, but it worked really well. So I could work from home. People actually came to my house to see me, because that happens in New Zealand all the time. And I got a real nice flow going in terms of clients and consistency and people knowing who I was. And then one day my husband turned around to me and said, Claire, I've been offered a job in England that I really want to go and do. And so again, at this point, we'd got Darcy as well. We made the decision to move all the way back to the UK for a job that he wanted to do over here. And that's when things got interesting, because I wanted to set my business again in the UK, but setting up a business in England felt so different to setting up a business in New Zealand. I felt like this tiny, tiny little fish in this huge, big pond. I felt lost. I felt overwhelmed. I looked around me at all the other life coaches and business coaches and NLP coaches who were out there and thought, oh my gosh, like the market is saturated. Where do I even start? How am I ever going to get clients? And it took me a real mindset shift to rebuild my confidence and rebuild my brand, so that I could actually start getting consistent clients and consistent income as a coach here. Now, that shift, it was all about mindset for me, because I already had all the skills, but I'd lost that belief in myself. I'd lost that clarity, and I'd lost that confidence. And so for me, really working on my mindset over a couple of months is what took my business from being really stuck to soaring. And from that place where I was like, I don't know if I can do this again, to feeling really passionate and really driven. And that's what's led me to where I am today, right? So that's kind of, in a nutshell, that's a bit of my story. The fact that for me, it was a mindset shift both times within my business, both in terms of moving to New Zealand and feeling lost and needing something. And then when we moved back to the UK, I really needed that mindset shift so that I could start taking the action that I needed to, and didn't, because for a while I fell into this trap of thinking I need more. So I invested in course after course after course after course. I did loads of marketing training. I did tons of, you name it. The training I did was huge. But the truth was, I didn't need any of that. I just needed to look inside me and reconnect with myself. And that's what made the difference. So I want you to think about what your story is. What is it that made you open your eyes to the business that you now have? What is it that made you feel really passionate about it? What was your journey just before that? Like, did you have any struggles, or were you missing something, or were you lacking something? And when you found this, you realized that this was the thing that was going to change your journey ahead. And how has that helped you? How have you grown as a person? What have you learned on the way? There's some of the things that I'd like you to think about when you're sharing your story. Everyone's story is different. Don't be a perfectionist about it. Your story will grow and change as you do. This is just about like your first try, your first telling of the story. And it's a really perfect way for people to actually understand you, what you're about, and connect with you deeply. So have fun with it. Don't overthink it. If you're struggling with it, just keep it short and sweet. But please do something. So don't let your overwhelm or stress around this stop you from taking action. It's really important that you do take action on this, no matter how short it might be. It's the first step. Some of you are going to love this because you love writing, and you'll be like, you'll write this huge, beautiful story and it'll be amazing. Some of you will be like, oh, where do I even start? So if you love this challenge, then grab it by the hands, embrace it, and go and have fun with it. If you're panicking about it, don't. Just write something, anything. It doesn't matter how short, just make a start, because I know you can do this. I can't wait to see them. So feel free to firstly tag me in on your posts on wherever your pages are where you share this. So on your profile page or on your business page, it's totally up to you. And then take a photo of it like yesterday and share that in Streamcatcher so we can see the evidence and the accountability there. Go and have fun. I can't wait to read all of this, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, take care. Bye.